You are being entrained, and most of us don't even realize it. Not inspired, not motivated, entrained. And if you don't understand what that means, you will just keep on trying to fix your life at the surface level. While at the same time, patterns just keep rebuilding underneath. So let's define it clearly. Entrainment. It's the process where your brain and your body begin to synchronize with whatever they are repeatedly exposed to. It's not abstract. It's not spiritual fluff. It's how your nervous system and your brain actually function. Your brain is constantly adapting. It is always asking one question: what should I get efficient at? And the answer is simple: whatever you repeat. So if you repeatedly think, I'm behind, your brain gets efficient at producing that thought. And you repeatedly operate in urgency. Your body gets efficient at urgency. And if your attention is constantly fragmented, your brain gets efficient at distraction. That is entrainment. The system syncing to what you consistently feed it. Now, here's where it becomes a problem. Because what starts as exposure becomes a pattern, and what becomes a pattern becomes automatic, and what becomes automatic feels like identity. So you're not saying, I've been thinking this a lot. You're actually saying, this is just who I am. I'm an overthinker. I'm always overwhelmed. I just can't focus. No, you trained that, not intentionally, but consistently. And your brain is built around it. That's neuroplasticity. The brain wires itself based on repeated thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So your life is not just shaped by what you want, desire, it's shaped by what you practice. And this is why so many people feel stuck, because they are trying to change their life without changing what they have been entrained to. They try to fix behavior, they try to be more disciplined, they try to be more organized, but underneath that, their same patterns are still running like programs. So everything just snaps back. You have a productive day, then you fall right back. You feel clear and then go right back to scattered, disorganized thinking. You get motivated, then you lose it, because motivation does not override entrainment. Training does. The brain will always default to what is most practiced, which means if nothing's changing in your life, you have to stop asking, what do I need to be more of? And start asking, what have I been training my life and mind to return to? Because that is what's running your life. And this is exactly where scripture speaks with precision. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That is not about information. That is about retraining, transformation. Because without renewal, you default to what you've been conditioned to or training for. So let's make this practical. This is where salt and light comes in. This is my framework. First, reveal. You have to see what you've been entrained to. What thought shows up automatically? What emotional state feels like your baseline? What do you return to without choosing it? Because whatever is automatic has become practiced. You cannot transform what you will not confront. Second, reset. Okay. Now interrupt the pattern. You stop letting it run without resistance. You stop agreeing with every thought that pops in your head, because every thought is not truth. Some thoughts are just well trained. So pause, challenge it, create separation between you and the pattern. Scripture says to take every thought captive. Okay. That means your mind does not lead, you lead. Third, renew. This is where real change happens, or at least starts. You don't just remove the pattern, replace it, because your brain will always go back to the familiar unless you give it something else, something new to build around. So you intentionally feed it truth. You repeat it. You reinforce it until this system begins to synchronize with something different, right? This is entrainment in a good way. This is entrainment right in the right direction. You are choosing what your mind aligns with, not just reacting to what it was trained to in the past. Finally, restore, the fourth thing. This is where life starts to shift, not because you've forced behavior, but because the pattern underneath has changed. Your thinking changes, your reactions change, your decisions change, and your life reflects that because your life will always follow your strongest patterns. So if you feel stuck, you're not broken, you're trained, and training can be changed, but only if you're willing to see it, interrupt it, and replace it. So here's the question. What have you been entrained to that you've really been calling just who I am? Because once you see that, you reveal that, you can change it. And when you change what your mind is trained to, you change your life. And that's the power. So I encourage you to explore this deeper. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.